NFL court, Jerry Judy versus Mark Schlereth. Let's get into it.
Jerry Judy and Mark Schlereth went at it on Twitter. Who was right and who was wrong is usually complicated. So to help me truly think about it from each person's perspective.
I don't know who the fuck Mark Schlereth is, but I guess we're gonna find out. We all know who Jerry Judy is.
I decided to represent them both in NFL court. Mark Schlereth is on trial, but he's only on trial for what Judy has actually accused him of. The accusations, as we'll go through in the video,
only if your opinion matter. Hating ass dude, backseason, y'all go give this lame ass dude some attention. Y'all gotta stop listening to fake ass NFL gurus. They don't even access to real film. They're on YouTube watching the games.
Being a hater and fake NFL guru. These comments were made only after Mark dropped the video speaking on Judy being traded. But did the video go too far? Or was he just doing his job and speaking honestly? In the video, Mark called Jerry Judy a bust and said he was happy that Judy was no longer with the Broncos. Now the prosecution and defense will make their opening statements. This is NFL court, Judy versus Schlereth. Let's get it. Mark Schlereth positioned himself as a person offering constructive criticism. But if that was the case, why'd he finish his statement by purposely calling my client out his name?
I, for one, am glad he's gone, but I tell you this, I'll never forget you, Jimmy Judy. All the best.
Today I'm gonna prove that he's a thirsty podcaster trying to bait my client for clicks and views.
We understand, you know what I'm saying, if he's a YouTube guru.
Mark Schlereth was a respected NFL player, a respected TV personality, respected radio host. Their reputation wasn't built on haphazard comments. He spoke the truth about Judy, and Judy couldn't handle it. Judy has a history of not taking constructive criticism well. He's a grown man, but sometimes acts as a spoiled child. This case is just him throwing yet another fit, and today I'll prove exactly that.
Okay, so we already know who won then, shit.
Alright, let's first lay out the dispute between these two men. Ignoring spats they may or may not have had in the past. We'll be focused on this exchange only from March 21st, 2024. After spending 4 seasons with the Denver Broncos, recently Jerry Judy was traded to the Browns. And Mark Schlereth has some thoughts and comments on that.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a good trade.
Schlereth is a podcaster and radio host in Denver where he covers the Broncos. So it is his job to speak on these things. But here's the question. Did Mark simply do his job and give his assessment on Judy's time in Denver? Or did personal feelings cloud his judgment, causing him to go overboard and step into the wrong page? Here's the clip of Mr. Schlereth, the inciting incident. Would you classify this as hating or an honest assessment?
I'm a D1 hater, I can...
Hey guys, your boy Stink here, and I've been telling you for the last 2 years what a bust Jerry Judy is at the wide receiver position. Well, today he was traded to the Cleveland Browns for a 5th and 6th round pick. And, you know...
Okay, so I wouldn't say Jerry Judy's been a bust for the past 2 years. He's been on the fucking Broncos for the past 2 years. He's had fucking, Russell Wilson at quarterback, bro? I can't call him a bust. I can't call, maybe his seasons were subpar, but I can't call him a bust just because his fucking team was trash.
You know, I got this from you guys all the time, but he's so quick, in and out of breaks. He's a great route runner. Yeah, he's open after the quarterback has already gone through the progression. And as far as a football player, he's just not a great football player. Doesn't run secondary routes well to attract coverage, drops the football, doesn't block. Good riddance. Listen, that's not the kind of player you need here in Denver to rebuild this thing. I, for one, am glad he's gone. But I tell you this, I'll never forget you, Jimmy Judy. All the best.
About a week after the clip was posted, Mr. Judy saw it and decided to respond. This would spark a short back and forth between the two men on social media. Only if your opinion mattered, hating ass dude. Hashtag bag season. Y'all go get this lame dude some attention. Y'all gotta stop listening to fake NFL gurus. They don't even have access to real film.
We can't call him a fake NFL guru just because he actually played in the NFL. He was a commentator for the NFL. I can't really call him a fake NFL guru.
They sitting on YouTube watching the games. Congrats on getting paid, but I believe you spelled it wrong. I think it's hashtag bust.
Own
Once
that
again, you're
nigga,
completely
bro.
incorrect.
Own that nigga, bro. God damn, letting this nigga Mark Schlereth get your ass, Judy.
As per usual, all I study is coaches' film, as I've consulted for several NFL teams. I get the film from them, so try again. I'm just seeing this, by the way. That's why I'm responding. But Cub been on my blank, hating and whatnot. And that's what most old heads are doing these days, hating on the young soldiers. But y'all can have the Twitter fingers. I stand on business in real life. By old heads, do you mean guys who won championships?
Yeah, Judy, he on that ass, buddy. He's on that
Today's
ass.
video is sponsored by COVID. Next, quick and year retreat. And the tweets followed that a little over a week later. Now you'll hear from the prosecutor and the defense attorney as they each make their case for their client.
Prosecution presents
Nostalgia
case.
is a hell of a drug, ain't it? As players like Mark Schlereth get further from the game, they long for the way they played to be celebrated. They struggle with the fact that younger players are getting paid more, they're more recognized. And you know what happens? Envy creeps in. So sometimes disguised as constructive criticism, they try to pick at the young soldiers to break their formation, aggravate them enough to garner a response, all in an attempt to eat off their names. I know what you're thinking. Mark Schlereth, he would never do that. I watched him on TV for years, and he's a stand-up guy. But Mr. Schlereth showed himself to be a thirsty podcaster and a hater all at the same time. If that wasn't the case, why would Mark invite my client onto his podcast after calling him out? It makes you wonder, is that what he wanted all along? It's the oldest trick in the book. Bait a player on social, then invite him on your show so you can pretend to hash it out. You get the views, you come out looking like the bigger person, and it was all started by a shot that you decided to fire. Schlereth tried to run a bread and butter play against my client, but defenses have evolved. We're shutting that down. Furthermore, Mark Schlereth is twice my client's age. Should he not be the one providing the example of maturity in this exchange? The dig he threw at my client by purposely mispronouncing his name was a childish shot designed to get attention. Perhaps he's been working in the sports entertainment industry for too long. It's an industry where just talking ball don't bring in the views. In that moment, he went beyond an old player offering advice, and he stepped into the shoes that absolutely fit. What shoes are those? The shoes of a hater.
He did it.
And I know they fit you, Mark.
We love to see D1 haters striving out here. We love to see it. If like the world wouldn't be where we are today if we didn't have D1 hating. If you think we just let niggas slide, we get this far? Caesar and them. The Congress and them back in the old. When they got to getting shaking Caesar 23 times. D1 hating. You love that shit. These niggas ended the era because this nigga was too goated. You love that shit. That's the D1 hating that I strive for. That's what I aim for. That nigga's doing that good. I'm not. Not
but
for
you
long.
didn't have to wear them. I like to open with a rebuttal. The prosecution stated that due to Mark's age, he should be the one to provide the example of maturity. The issue is Mr. Juedy never dealt with Mark as his elder. He stood chest to chest and wants to be viewed as a man. You can't have it both ways. If you're a man, be a man. If you're a child or a young man, show respect to your elders. But once you step to your elder like y'all on the same plane and you're over 21, we can buy alcohol at all the same establishments. Don't stand there and throw a rock as a man and then expect to be punished as a boy. It doesn't work that way anywhere in this world. Mr. Juedy is a man and should be treated as such.
Which is real
To
as
truly
fuck.
be
At the end of the day,
classified
you
as,
a man,
quote,
stand
a
on that
hater,
shit.
one must speak ill without an acceptable reason. Are you hating on a proven thief by calling him a thief? Do you hate on poorly prepared food by saying it tastes bad? A bust is admittedly not a nice term, but it's not a derogatory term by any means.
I like to hate on niggas who are on the Peter patter. You know what I'm saying? I like to hate on niggas who are on the sides. You know, they're one sector this, one sector that. Well, they're right down the middle. I like to hate on niggas like that. Because when you hate on niggas like that, they fall. They fall onto one side. You push them so far, they either go to be the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? They let all that hater shit, you know what I'm saying, build them up. Or they let that shit break them down. You know, I'm a different generational type of hater here. Niggas like to hate on big guys, like, you know what I'm saying, people who've already made it successful. I like to hate on people who are on the cusp. I like to hate on people who are that close to greatness.
A trip can be a bust. A money play can be a bust. It means it yields results that fall drastically below expectation. In 4 years, the second receiver chosen in the 2020 draft hasn't had a single 1,000-yard season. It's not hating the
Bro, god damn, 467 is kind of trash. I mean, the 972 is pretty good, averaging great yards per, you know what I'm saying? But the TDs are ass too. Fuck. Nigga, fuck.
To point out the fact that he hasn't produced at a high level. It doesn't help that one of the greatest receiver talents we've ever seen was drafted just a few picks after him. It also doesn't help that that player, despite breaking non-stop records, every week plays extremely hard, has a great attitude, makes clutch catches, and does all the things expected given his draft status and more. Then 3 more really good, highly sought after receivers were also taken shortly after Mr. Juedy. So by all accounts, Mr. Juedy is a draft bust. So how can calling him such be viewed as hating? It's an uncomfortable truth, not a very nice truth, but a truth nonetheless, simply a fact. My client covers the NFL and specifically the Broncos. He gave an opinion on a player that the team he covers spent big resources on and didn't get a satisfactory return on investment. He was open and honest about that. He did his job. My client won 3 Super Bowls, 2 with that team, and made 2 Pro Bowls, to which Mr. Juedy has made none. So for Mr. Juedy to call my client a fake NFL guru really makes you question what his football values really are. Hashtag bag season. For my final statement before I rest my case, I like to point out the fact that Mr. Juedy is not a first-time offender. While some players have an understandable disrespect.
Agree. As a receiver, you should know how this football should go, but it was good window. Control what can't control. What are the receivers? All the money out there to be no-shows. Glad you got to watch the game from the crib, fam. I'm seeing a little bit of Meek, you know what I'm saying, a little Meek Mill in you, Jerry Judy. The fuck off of Twitter, buddy.
Respect of the media. Mr. Juedy has disregarded and disrespected legends from his own team. When he was called out by an objectively great player who literally played his exact same position, his response to that criticism was exactly the same. So are people really hating on Mr. Juedy, or just refusing to pretend that he's an elite football player? 2 well-presented cases. There was a lot to consider, but I have come to my decision on this matter. Mr. Slayer said what many others have said about Mr. Juedy, including, as the defense mentioned, all-pro receiver Steve.
I'm sorry that I said you were a jag. Just a guy who's an average wide receiver they used a first-round pick on that isn't doing anything. I hope today that you show up in a way that you haven't showed up in the last couple of years since they drafted you. God, he's on that fucking ass.
Mr. Slaver spoke truth. He called the spade a spade. But mispronouncing Judy's name was a bit juvenile. An immature statement gets an immature response. I could have ignored the tone of the video if not for that pun. Mr. Juedy needs to take some accountability for underachieving in the NFL through his first 4 years. I know he had the injury the 1 year where he almost hit 1,000, but he's had 4 cracks at it and still hasn't produced. He's had some moments for sure, but more is expected from a top 15 pick, and that's just the truth. And if he's real with himself, deep down he probably knows that, which is probably why the criticism cut so deep. Congratulations on getting paid, but the Cleveland Browns is a team that's known for throwing out ill-advised contracts. Now, I would absolutely count it as a blessing, but I wouldn't count it as validation per se. If you view a top 15 pick as currency, then it's honestly not that hard to understand. For example, the folks that paid $12,000 for the Fry Festival, then they get there and eat cheese toast with lettuce and tomatoes.
Oh my God, I heard about this shit, but I'd be damn, bro. They over here them niggas got scammed.
You're not hating if you don't acknowledge the fact that, hey, we ate, right? The fact is you got something, just not what you paid for. And I only use such an extreme example to illustrate the point. Judy's not that bad. He's had some solid seasons. He's clearly got some talent. He was a first-round pick for a reason. He was the second receiver taken in one of the best receiver classes in history.
I'm not gonna lie,
but since coming to the league, he doesn't seem to have improved. And it seems his ego has outgrown his game tremendously. He's still really young and he's going to a stacked team, so maybe this new change of scenery is exactly what he needs.
That's what I'm saying.
That said, I hereby find the defendant Mark Schlereth not guilty of being a hater. I think it sets a dangerous precedence to tag somebody with the hater stamp.
He sprinkled some hate in there, but he's not a hater.
Every time they share an uncomfortable truth within the context of their job. When they get to making up narratives and overly nitpicking or pulling a player into a conversation that they don't belong in, that's when it starts to turn into something else, and that is not something that I can mess with. But your first round pick didn't sign a second contract and got traded for a 5th rounder. Of course, you're gonna speak on that. Still, he has no right to complain about Mr. Juedy clapping back because his breakdown went beyond just analysis. When you resort to name calling in any type of form, at that point, a rebuttal is perfectly in line. Not to mention, I've grown tired of this same old two-step where you call a guy out on Twitter and then invite him to your podcast. Guys have run that play into the ground, in my opinion, and it's starting to come off as somewhat disingenuous. I don't give any credence to the age gap whatsoever. Mr. Judy's a grown man, and I promise you this, he would like to be treated as such. So that can't only be the case when it's convenient. If he was a child, this would be a different conversation. But I honestly believe it's disrespectful towards Mr. Juedy to treat him like a kid at this point. I acknowledge the fact that a 24-year-old has a lot to learn, but if you show zero respect to your predecessors, it would be unfair for me to then ask them to coddle you. My advice to Mr. Schlereth is to continue to do your job, tell the truth, be honest. We need more of that. However, what we don't need is more of the name puns by sports hosts.
Buddy, at the end of the day, the unfortunate truth, if you want to really blow up, like you just got a video made on you, if you didn't do that name pun, this video would not be getting made on you. Mark, keep doing what you're doing. At the end of the day, fuck these niggas, get your damn bag.
Leave that to the Skip Bayless
However you
types.
get your bag,
While I found you not guilty of
niggas,
being a hater, it doesn't change the fact that I am disappointed. It's clear you have a personal grudge held against Mr. Juedy, and seeing some of the things he's done and said, I don't doubt that it's justified. What I don't like is the fact that you let it bleed into your work. My advice to Mr. Juedy would be to take your own advice. Stop listening to these guys if you truly believe that there is no merit to what they're saying. If you think they're not watching real film and not giving real criticism, and you're telling everyone to ignore them, but you're giving it attention. That contradiction suggests
I would have been like, oh shit, I just got a bagel for $3, and that's my response.
That you don't believe what you're saying, and maybe deep down you believe that his words do matter. Like I said, if they don't matter, you should ignore them. But if in your heart of hearts you believe he has a point, explore whether or not that's the reason you always choose to clap back. And once you do that, man, just be honest with yourself. Stop being defensive for just a quick moment. Look at the man in the mirror and say, let's get back.
What does Jerry Judy look like? Actually, I'm not even gonna get into it. Wait. Hi guys, analytics here. I just noticed that 99.999% of the people who watch this don't subscribe. And I would like to say, why? Especially if you got here. I mean, I don't even expect half of y'all to get here, but if you got here, buddy, drop a like and a follow. Like, drop a like and subscribe. Like, comment too, shit. Tell me what you think. Like, tell me what I can improve on. Like, something like we blowing up here. All right, peace.